And now, it's time for another Dice Tower review with Tom Vasel.
Hey folks, I'm Tom Vasel. Welcome to the Dice Tower. Today we're taking a look at a few games here. We're taking a look at Baseball Highlights, the dice game, which is a game I like baseball highlights a lot. Football highlights less so. And in fact, I'm also talking about football highlights, the dice game. That's not hanging on the wall here because this one comes in a plastic bag. Because what? Anyway, Pachacuna, which I might be mispronouncing, a two-player game about delivering goods from village to village using llamas, and Rokumon, another two-player game about samurais. It's a very abstracted style game. So let's take a look at these. Let's start, sports fans, with the highlights games. Both these games play out the same way, although the football game has normal dice and baseball highlights has regular dice, or has very specific dice that have singles, doubles, triples, walks, home runs, and stolen base, although again it's kind of like a 1 through 6. So on your turn, one player will roll all the dice plus a special defensive dice, and then you'll place all these dice on the numbers. And again, you're going to do the same thing on the baseball one. So once you place all the dice on the numbers, then whoever's turn it is, the person who rolled those dice, will pick one group of numbers. So here I might pick the 4s. Cross off all the numbers that match 4 on the sheet. And as you cross off these numbers, so the first one here is nothing. The second one here gives me 5 yards, and it lets me cross off a yards after catch. The next one, there's a 3 there, so that means I cross off the first one on the 3. There's like comboing. Then the fourth one, nothing. Then the fifth one, 15 yards. But I'll also look at the defensive dice, and this says minus 10 from passing. This happens to be passing, so instead of 20 yards, I get 10. And I would move this 10 yards here. You're trying to get touchdowns or close enough to kick a field goal. Everybody else picks 2 numbers. They don't come off the board that you didn't pick. So you pick 4s, so I might pick a 1 and a 5. And then it might be my turn. I'll take the defensive dice with this, roll them again, a new defensive play, and these dice are added to their spots on the board. And now maybe I'll pick the 2s. There are some things that when you cross them, give you bonus dice that you'll roll, and you're just trying to score touchdowns. You get a cross here, you get touchdowns, or if you get close enough, you can decide to kick a field goal instead and reset. And that's basically it. Whoever's most points after a certain number of rounds per player is the winner. Baseball is the same thing, although you're going to be putting people on base and running them around, and this can have you have triple plays, double plays, stolen bases, different things will happen. There's some minor differences between the two games, but they pretty much play out the same way. These bonus dice, when you get them, work only for you. Both of these games, baseball highlights and football highlights, are okay. There's a lot of these roll and write games where you roll dice and write things out. This one feels like a okay version. In fact, this one feels like someone said baseball highlights and football highlights are popular. Let's make a roll and write game about them. I like Mike Fitzgerald as both a person and a designer, and I like a lot of the games he's done, but this one is just okay. I think the football one's a little better because it's more thematic. I don't often hit 6 triples in a baseball game and have 4 triple plays. There's the number of triple plays per season in all of baseball is very rare. So I found that to be a little meh. The football one, at least you get yards and you can pick which, if I'm going to pick a running play or a passing play based on a defensive play and decide to kick field goals. So I think there's a slight bit more strategy. But the fact that it doesn't come in a box, what on earth? So, yeah, I would not get either one of these. Really, they're okay if I played them. They're also very, very short, and you don't really feel like you get to pull the combos off. So they're kind of both a pass for me. All right, let's go and take a look at some llamas. In Pachacuna, you have a paper board here, and on this paper board, though, you're actually putting the real board. So before the game starts, you have to take these little stickers, and they're little double-sided stickers here, and you're going to put together these tiles that are dual layered. Now, it's neat. You have a lot of these cool dual layered tiles. I really like this aspect of the game. Putting them together was a pain because each of these tiles is different shapes, and you need to match. They have these numbers, like 64 matches 64. So you have to match all of them together and put them together. It takes a long time. But this is mostly just so you can say, okay, this one goes here, this one goes here, until you've built the board. In this two-player game, now you see that the whole board's set up. Players are trying to collect yarn of 7 different colors. You each start with a llama here. And the reason these 3-dimensional pieces are here is because on your turn, the first thing you can do is you can take pretty much any tile and rotate it any direction you want. I mean, you can pick it up and turn it all the way around if you so desire. Now, one of the llamas, the black llama, moves only on mountains. So maybe my first move I might do something like this, because now I can move the llama all the way over here. While the white llama is going to move on the plains. So I'm going to want to rotate things to move along those. You're trying to get to different cities. When you get to cities, you'll sell your resource. There's some demand tokens that will be randomly placed here that fall over all the time, by the way. All the time. You pull them from this really beautiful bag. They're really pretty. The whole game is pretty. And most of the components are good, except these demand tiles, like I said. They fall over at the drop of a hat. When you sell goods, you're trying to sell it to the right place so that you can get extra pieces. If you do so, you'll get to keep one. Sometimes you'll get 2 pieces of the same type. Eventually, you'll be able to buy more llamas to be able to move around the board. And once you deliver something, you'll take that demand token from the bag and pull a new one. So it's going to want something new, and that's pretty much it. The first person to get one of each color is going to win the game. Initially, I thought I would really like this game. The going around picking up and the rotating stuff, and you're like, ooh, look, I rotate these mountains, and now I can go woo all the way across the board. That sounds cool. There's a couple big problems with the game. The biggest is that delivering goods is really a wonky system. Like, you start the game with a white good. There are no places that accept white goods. That's in the rules at the beginning of the game. So you go and deliver that good to a spot that doesn't want white, and all it does is change the flag there. It also gives you a good from that color, so that's fine, but that's such a weird, non-intuitive thing. And in this game, you can upgrade to get more llamas, and you can rotate the tiles, and that's kind of cool. But at the end of the day, it comes down to there's just luck. When you're pulling from the bag, sometimes you pull a flag, it's out there, and it helps your opponent. That's the color they need it. It's close to their llama. You can rotate all you want. But that pulling from the bag was way too lucky. I couldn't get over that. The game also feels like it drags a bit near the end, as both players are rushing to finish their last 1 or 2 colors, trying to figure out the combo to go pick it up from here and then go deliver it somewhere else. And having multiple llamas, which you can get, makes the game that much longer per turn. And so it's a pretty game, but not one that I wish to play again. All right, let's see if the samurai fare better. Rokumon is kind of an odd duck here, and I'm not going to go over all the rules for this because the game takes place in different acts. And what it does is each act gets progressively more complex. The game isn't particularly overly complex, although it's not intuitive. You have 2 sides that are playing against each other. They each have different symbols. One side has fewer. And you'll notice my copy of the game came with these nice coin holders. These are great, by the way, to hold some different tokens. So I put one in to show you, but you can use them or not. But what you're trying to do basically to win an act, the games are split into acts, is to get 3 in a row, 1, 2, 3, or to get 3 in a row, 3 on top of each other. And you're doing so on your turn. You place 1 back and forth, and you'll notice one side has 4 tokens, the other side has 5, and the side that has 4 tokens goes first, and so it kind of differentiates that advantage. But when I go here, I'm allowed to move on top of somebody else. I can kind of trap them in place, or you can even move on top of yourself, which is dangerous because if you can then move another one on top of yourself, you've won the game. And then more shows up later on. You'll notice if I flip them over, they have different numerical values. There's +1. There's different ways to set up the board. So there's some kind of back and forth changes to this game. It's all right. I mean, on one hand, it looks great. It's interesting. And it's different. Okay, so I give all those things credence. It's just I didn't find it to be particularly fun. I don't like going through all those acts for one reason. I don't need a legacy abstract game, and I get it. They're just trying to increase the complexity, but just say Act 4 is the game, and I would have more fun back and forth. But it's kind of like an advanced tic-tac-toe of sorts. It's a little too esoteric for my tastes. I think it's interesting, but to bring it out and teach it to people feels like more work than the game's so quick and simple than it's worth. But it's okay. I would give this one a 6 out of 10. Unfortunately, as beautiful as Pachacuna is, that's kind of a 5 out of 10. And the highlights are also a 5 out of 10. As much as I would like the baseball highlights and football highlights, and they're interesting, they just don't hold up compared to the vast amount of other games in that genre. There's literally hundreds, maybe 1,000 roll-and writes out there. And I'd just go back and play baseball highlights, the card game, which is a very different game. Anyway, those are my thoughts. I'm Tom Vasel. We'll see you next time.